Welcome to another edition of Believers Talk with Joe and Steve. We're your hosts. I'm Joe.
I'm Steve.
And today we're going to talk about the Combine. We're going to break down pretty much just every day, give you a little rundown of what happened. We don't want to be here a long time going day by day, but we'll try to give you all one down so you don't have to watch those super long videos. Before we do that, however, if this is the kind of video content you're looking for, we will continue to do NFL content, including the Combine, free agency, draft, and of course during the regular season, we'll be on here a lot. And Buffalo Bills coverage. We will keep you up to date on signings and things that they do, their schedule, and that comes out. We'll have an episode about that, things of that nature. So today we are going to talk about the Combine. So Steve, what did you want to start with?
Well, I guess we'll start with the offensive line, running backs. That was the first day. We kind of do like a quick review. Probably the biggest news of the offensive line was Billy Price, center from Ohio State. He tore his pec, I believe, on the third rep of his bench press. Actually came out today. He did have surgery, and it was like a partial tear. Everything was good to go. Surgery went good, and he should be back by training camp. So that was the biggest news of the offensive line day.
Yeah, I heard that he might be out 4 months, but that still gets you in time to be there for training camp. Not sure how it will affect his draft status, though.
Yeah, it might drop a little bit. Yeah. So maybe the Bills, if they were looking at him at 21, 22, maybe he drops into the second round.
Right. Yeah. You never know.
Also, one of the guys who stood out for me in the Combine was James Daniels, center from Iowa. So that could also push him down because he looked really good on the on-field drills. A lot of people get wowed by the 40 times and stuff like that, the verts and stuff like that. Really, like, that's what people think about the Combine. I think of more of the on-field. Those benefit. I like seeing the players that way, and it kind of checks off of what I saw on tape, or if I need to go look at this player because this guy looks good on the on-field to make sure he plays like that. So.
Yeah, unfortunately with James Daniels, I do agree. Like being a good option, that might move the guy from Iowa down a little bit price. But still, really good player. So I don't think he'll have an issue being signed at all. But it is bad news for him. The last thing you want to do at the Underwear Olympics, as they call it, is to get hurt. So best of luck to him in his recovery. So we'll see what happens with the draft. But like you said, maybe if the Bills are looking to trade up to get that quarterback, we have a later draft pick. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it works out nice. We get a quarterback and a center.
That would be awesome. So next on the list, we'll talk about Will Hernandez. Kind of impressed a little bit, right? So if you want to talk about him from UTEP.
I liked him at the Senior Bowl. And then just his on-the-field workouts was really good.
Absolutely.
I mean, he bench pressed 225 37 times. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of people are comparing him to Richie Incognito, right? So Richie was actually a third-round draft pick, if I'm correct. At the Combine, he got hurt, and he did have some off-the-field issues even back in his college days. So he was a third-round draft pick, but with the performance that Will Hernandez had at the Combine, I would not be surprised to see that propelled him to the first round.
Yeah, I think he is.
Maybe early second, but I think that propelled him to the first round. So don't think that's a guy that the Bills can get really, because again, I think the 21-22 selections are already spoken for. But we'll see, and so he might be there at that point if we're still there. So moving on, we have Colton Miller, tackle from UCLA. He broke the record for the broad jump for offensive tackles, right? Offensive line. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if you had anything else on him.
It was 10 foot 1 inch, which is pretty impressive.
Right.
He had good on-field drills. His tape was a little up and down, so it kind of makes you think he's very athletic, but hoping that it can translate to the NFL because he did have some up and down tape. He could be a possibility for Bills. Maybe to slide him into right tackle. Because we have our left tackle in Dawkins.
Right, for a while. Hopefully,
I believe so.
Let's hope. The next guy I kind of want to talk about actually was probably the biggest bust of the Combine, and that would be Orlando Brown. He had less than 20 reps at 225.
Exactly. 14
reps. And we'll talk about this other guy later, but Saquon Barkley had 28 or 30. So he you have running back and wide receivers doubling you in reps. That's not good.
his 40 was, and I don't put a lot of stock into linemen and quarterbacks, their 40s, but his 40 was 5.85 seconds.
Which is that's been the longest of anybody since 2006.
Yeah, that was just an awful time for him. They simulcast him and Rich Eisen because Rich Eisen ran, and he just barely beat Rich Eisen. So
yeah, Rich Eisen ran 5.87, I think it was.
9.7.
9.7. Okay.
So it was like a second off, but it was close.
Another second, yeah. So
and on the field drills, he just didn't look. He looked stiff. He couldn't get low. I mean, it's weird because his tape, and he didn't give up a sack this past year. So I think he's going to drop a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's another guy that maybe the Bills look at that they can get him further down because for tackle need, but he has some work to do, especially now with his combine.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a bigger guy. Played for Oklahoma, and like you say, didn't have a sack this year, so that's the positives. And we'll see how he does on his pro day, right? Like he'll have a pro day, he'll have a chance to make up for what he did here, and he will run a lot of the same drills if they want him to.
And we don't know if something was wrong with him or anything, so give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he has good tape. Hopefully the scouts look at that compared to his times, but I think some people are pretty shocked of how
absolutely, and that will drop him a little bit if nothing else. So bad payday for him, but that's okay. So we'll move on to the running backs. That was also on day one of the draft, and everyone wants to talk about the same guy, Saquon Barkley, right? So my question to you would simply be, did he do enough to make him the number one overall selection in the draft?
I've said for past few weeks that I believe he could be the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
I don't know if he will be, but he's done enough to show that he is. He's just an unbelievable player. He ran a 4.4 40. He bench pressed 29 reps.
Yeah.
And he had a 41-inch vert. Those were his numbers.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane, but I go back to the on-field stuff. He just looks good. He looks natural, and just catching the ball, it doesn't look to phase him. It just comes naturally to him. He can do everything. He would be a nice pick for the Browns.
Yeah.
He'd be a nice pick
for anybody.
Anybody that needed a running back. He could help our Bills out because people want to try to trade up for him and push some of the quarterbacks back. But
that's what I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, if he is the number one overall pick, that puts those quarterbacks down one or two more picks, and so maybe we can trade up for a little less. That'd be kind of cool to see. After Saquon Barkley, I want to talk about the two guys from Georgia. You have Sony Michel and Chubb. What's his first name? Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb from Georgia. So watching those two, I know you always liked Sony Michel. So do you still think he's better than Nick Chubb?
Yeah, I think Sony Michel is probably the second best back in the draft.
Okay.
I really like Sony Michel.
Wow, you like him a lot then, yeah.
He ran a 4.5 40, 22 reps.
Sure.
Looks good on the drills.
Yep.
He can catch. He just, at Georgia, they didn't ask him to do a lot of that stuff because they didn't throw to their running backs a lot, and him and Chubb split time. But man, Sony Michel is going to be really good, and he's another reason why I could almost see Barkley not going one, because I can see Cleveland either trading back into the first to get him, because I think his workout put him into the first round.
Okay.
Or just getting them in the second round.
Yeah.
Because they do have the first pick in the second round.
They do have the first pick in the second round. I think they have 3 second-round picks overall. So the Cleveland Browns have a lot of picks. They really control how this draft goes.
And with what they need is quarterback and running back.
Yeah.
They're very deep positions in this draft.
Right. Yeah. So it might work out for them well. And then another running back that has kind of been creeping up on everyone's radar is Rashad Penny from San Diego State. Obviously, a lot of people didn't know about him before the Senior Bowl because he played at San Diego State, not a lot of press time there and things of that nature. But he did lead the FBS in rushing yards this past year, right? So what do you think of his combine?
I like it. He's another. I'll be honest with you. There's obviously Barkley, top-rated running back,
right?
And then I go Sony Michel and the kid out of LSU. Geis.
Yeah, right, Geis, yeah.
Bryce Geis, I believe his name is, out of LSU. And then I kind of have Rashad Penny and Kellen Ballage kind of grouped together, that I'm hoping one of those two goes to Buffalo. Because I like them both. They both ran a 4.46 40.
Sure.
Penny did 13 reps of the bench. Bulledge did 15. Their vert was for Penny was 32.5, and Bulledge was 33.5. So their numbers on the combine were very similar. I think probably Penny is a better all-around player.
Okay.
But they're very similar players in general. So.
Sure. Yeah. So there's a couple more guys. One more guy I wanted to quickly mention was Nyheim Hines from NC State.
Okay.
He actually had the fastest 40 time.
Yeah, he was quick.
Backs. Yeah. It was 4.38. So of all the running backs, that's including Barkley. Yeah, here in a 4.38. Did you have any other running backs?
Yeah, there was one other guy, and this kind of is not really out of the blue, but I didn't really like his tape at Alabama.
Okay.
Joe Scarborough.
Okay.
He was kind of like the third back.
Okay.
And I wasn't really a fan of him, but
right.
his combine was impressive.
Okay.
And it was kind of weird. He was pretty quick. Ran out of 4.52.
Yeah.
Bench press 14 reps at 40-inch vert. But my problem with him is he runs so upright that it makes me a little nervous.
Sure.
He could be there late for the Bills,
sure.
but I just don't like how he runs upright. I think he can take some big hits.
Yeah.
It might not work out for him as he's a bigger guy, so in college he could get away with it a little more.
Yeah.
Maybe in the NFL I don't see that happen.
Right, exactly.
But another guy just to keep an eye on.
Sure. Yeah, and we both agree that the Bills will go running back at some point in the draft. We just have to get younger at that position.
Yep.
So we'll probably see a running back late. And so those are a couple guys to keep an eye on. Next, we move on to day 2. And day 2 is probably the favorite day of the draft because that's, at least this year it was, because that's when we saw our quarterbacks. So we'll get right into the quarterbacks. Out of the top 4, who did you think did the best? We'll go Rosen, Mayfield, Allen, and Darnold, who did not throw.
Yeah.
But we'll say they're the top 4. Who do you think did the best?
Well, who did the best or who did the most for themselves?
Well, let's say who did the most for themselves. Yeah.
Okay, who did the most for themselves? I think Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
I liked him before, but he just looked great dropping back, throwing. Like it didn't look foreign to him, and it was kind of something that I expected for him it to look a little weird with him because he always came out of shotgun, the spread offense.
Right.
And he had some zip on the ball.
Okay.
His accuracy was good. And it was pretty impressive to me.
Good. I would say that Josh Allen did the most for himself. And now, if you go back to our QB rankings video, you had him 4th already. I had him 6th, so he impressed me enough to move him up a little bit in that. So maybe my low expectations at the beginning made it seem that way. But yeah, I think Josh Allen proved a lot with his accuracy, with his arm strength, which I think we all knew was already there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, he had one pass he threw 70 yards.
Yeah,
and it was on the money, and you could tell like he was just trying to hold it back a little bit. And it was like one of his last throws. He was showing off a little bit. And
yeah, absolutely.
To talk about moving him up, I was considering now, does he move into my number 3 spot because Darnold didn't really throw? So that's the only thing that they're probably 3A and 3B right now.
Yeah, Darnold not throwing kind of throws everything off a little bit. Hopefully he'll throw on his pro day. I think he's planning on doing that, so we'll see more from him. But him not throwing here kind of makes everyone forget about him. I also thought Mason Rudolph had a pretty good day.
Yeah, I liked him. He was accurate.
Mm-hmm.
The ball came out.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't hesitate or anything. So it kind of everything you saw on tape with him.
Yeah.
Was there on the combine.
Right.
He doesn't have the strongest arm.
Right.
But he anticipates the throw. Mm-hmm. His accuracy's good. Yeah. So he was impressive too. I believe all of these quarterbacks were impressive. There was one guy I don't like. We'll get to a little later.
Okay. But I'm anticipating now. Like I'm ready for it. But yeah. So we have Josh Allen, like you said, threw that long ball. We can talk about LaMarcus Jackson if you want a little bit.
Lamar
Jackson. Sorry. Yeah. So he chose not to do any running drills at all. Yeah. Right. He just decided to throw the ball. Some people say that was him making a statement. Saying I'm a quarterback. We heard a lot of ramblings about teams asking him to try out as wide receiver, which seemed odd to me.
Yeah, and it did come out though that there was a report that no team actually did.
It was a false it was a false report. So so fake news, as some would say. But yeah, even Lamar Jackson, when he was asked about it, he was confused where that report came from. And so yeah, it's just interesting to me. But yeah, him not running I don't think that helps his stock that much.
I mean, to me, I don't put anything into it because I think he would have been the fastest guy there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In the quarterback, so like, I don't really care about them running, and a lot of times with the quarterbacks, I don't even care about their 40. Can they move in the pocket? Can they get out when they need to?
Which Lamar Jackson doesn't have to prove that to us. You look at his film, that's what he's used to doing. So
I was more intrigued of seeing him throw.
Yeah. And it wasn't that impressive. No, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't impressive.
I wasn't impressed with him at all. There was some later round guys that I really like a lot more than Lamar Jackson. So you're talking about Josh Allen moving up on your board.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Jackson moves down on mine because he was out of sync with his footwork. The ball was inaccurate, and a lot of that comes from the footwork.
Right.
So he's not getting himself set up.
Right.
That's the two players I was not impressed with out of the whole combine would have been Orlando Brown and Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
So
Lamar Jackson, yeah, I don't disagree. I watched some of his throws and they seem a little inaccurate at times. He seemed to be in a hurry too to try to get them off. You know what I mean? So yeah, that'll be interesting. So what did you think about probably my favorite quarterback in the draft, even though I don't think he's the best one? My favorite, Kyle Lauletta.
I like him.
Yeah, right? Like, what a good draft. What a good combine for him.
He was another guy, ball came out, anticipated.
Yep.
And it's a little harder to tell that because you're working with different receivers.
Yeah.
But at least he was taking his drops and the ball was coming out.
Yep.
He did have a couple here and there, but unlike probably like all the other quarterbacks, kind of getting used to, and some of the throws that they're making are supposed to be for the receivers. So it's a little weird. Like, he has to be told, okay, you got to put it here, or if the receiver runs a little different, stuff like that. But
and those are all things that obviously when you get with a team you work with, the wide receivers on where they like the ball, things of that nature. So it is a little weird trying to, and that's one of the hard things of combines is you're working with people you've never worked with before. So it's hard to really judge. So even though Lamar Jackson had a bad combine, maybe he comes out in his pro day impresses, because with your pro day you pretty much pick who you're throwing to and everything like that.
Well, and you're doing a scheduled play sheet, like the routes. You've been working on them for like months of who's running where and what they're doing to showcase the receiver or running back, and then obviously your arm. But Lauletta and Mike White, I think, had really good days. They probably moved up. Those guys I can see probably Lauletta pushed himself into the second round, I believe. Okay. So they're probably second, third round guys there.
Yeah.
There's another guy who I didn't know anything about.
As I saw his name, I didn't know anything about him either. So go ahead.
Logan Woodside.
Yeah.
From Toledo.
Okay.
My God, he looked good. Throwing the ball. And I didn't know anything about him, so I'm going to have to go back and watch some Toledo tape.
Too. Absolutely, yeah.
So anybody else out there that knows anything about him or something, give us some feedback, because I'm very intrigued by him now.
Okay.
Like, I thought he blew the combine out of the water as far as his throwing ability. So he's somebody now that I have my radar on for the Bills.
Sure.
So even if we do get Josh Rosen,
you want
maybe we can get him late because, hey, you never know. It's better to take two than
double dip them, right? Like, hey, take two and see what happens. I know that Lauletta, Mike White, they were mentioned as like Buffalo's second tier guys, right? We had people like the Bills were there watching quarterbacks heavily, not just our coaches. Pagula was there watching the quarterbacks, so it's looking like the quarterbacks are definitely interesting to Buffalo. But in order for that to happen, they have to be at the right spot when we're there.
Yeah.
So,
I think they met with just about every quarterback there, which was anticipated that they were going to.
So we'll move on. After quarterbacks, you had your wide receivers. I'm still really impressed with DJ Chark. I think from the Senior Bowl to the Combine, I don't think anyone has helped themselves more than DJ Chark has moving up the
draft. I would agree with you on that. Because I moved him in. He'll be my second rated receiver.
Yeah.
And that's coming from LSU. They don't really get him the ball that much.
Right. And that's why he wasn't rated highly before, because you never really saw him. I know. I didn't even hear about him until the Senior Bowl. And then I watched the Senior Bowl, and then I looked back at some LSU tape. Like you said, they still don't give him the ball much, but when they do, he was impressive. So
he ran a 4.34 40 and a 40-inch vert. So they're all speedster's numbers for the 40.
Yeah.
And a nice high vert,
right.
so you can go up and get the ball.
And get it. So yeah, that's someone that I would. Again, we talked earlier about how we don't feel like the Bills need a wide receiver, but if we picked him up, I would not be upset about that.
Yeah, at all, so. I'm not really sold on the receivers in this draft. You have Calvin Ridley out of Bama, Shark, and then DJ Moore out of Maryland. Those are like my top three. Mm-hmm. And then there's some other. There's a Sutton out of SMU, I believe. Mm-hmm. Couple other guys, but I'm not overall like impressed by the speed.
Right. No.
Other receivers. There's James Washington out of Oklahoma State, yeah. But I don't see really any speed guys except for maybe Ridley and Shark.
Right, and then also other than wide receivers, you had the tight ends on day 2 as well. I was not the guy from Penn State. I heard he had a really good combine.
Mike Gesicki?
Yeah, Mike Gesicki.
He blew it up. He had a really good combine. I have his numbers down here. I had to find it. He ran a 4.54 40.
Okay.
He benched 22 reps. Mm-hmm. He had a 41.5-inch vert, which I think that was the top vert for the combine.
Okay.
And then he had a 10-foot 7-inch broad jump. So he showed explosiveness, and he caught a lot of passes at Penn State.
Right.
He did good on the field drills and everything like that. So he kind of just checked off all the boxes of what you saw on tape was the real deal.
Yeah, good. But yeah, other than him, I didn't hear much from the tight end class. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Yeah. I don't. I don't see the Bills needing much at the tight end at this point, so I don't see them going there. But then we move on to day 3 was defensive line and linebackers, right? So we'll move ahead to day 3, and just wanted to get your take. Vita Vea, like obviously from Washington, I thought he had a good combine. I don't know if you had anything on him.
Yeah, I think he did get like a cramp or something and pulled out, but he's like 6'4", 347. Yeah. And he ran a 5.1 40. Right. So, I mean, you don't expect anything like that. But he bench pressed 41 reps, which was the second most.
Okay.
He looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
So he kind of reminds me of Darntarie Poe.
Okay.
A little bit. So that it could fill a need for the Bills. A big run stuffing guy. He's a bigger guy.
Yeah, and like you kind of said, he didn't impress like overly but he checked those boxes. Like we can do this. So yeah, he's definitely. In my opinion, he's definitely the best defensive end in this draft. I don't know if you...
Yeah, for defensive tackle.
Yeah, defensive tackle.
I kind of put him at number 2. My guy, which I would think you would like him, is Harrison Phillips from Stanford.
Sure.
He's looking at him. Mm-hmm. He looks like Kyle Williams without the pads. Like it's kind of crazy. And I like him. I liked him before that. He's 6'4", 307, so it's not as big.
Right.
But he had a 40 that he ran in 5.2, and then he bench pressed 42 reps. Sorry. Okay. So that was the most.
Yeah, most out
of the combine, and then he was he was a high school wrestler. I don't think he wrestled in college, but there's so much similarity to Kyle Williams. I think he can be Kyle Williams. To have him under the tutelage of Kyle Williams and Sean McDermott, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
He's my most impressive player from the defensive tackle position.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, either one of those guys make us happy. I think I'd probably put him at 2. And we just switch those 2 up. So maybe that's because I saw a lot of tape on him when he was beating my team in college. So maybe I have a little disdain for him, but no, that's fine. So moving down the list, I don't know if you had anybody else you want to talk about.
Yeah, some other defensive tackles. Yeah. B.J. Hill out of North Carolina State.
Sure.
He looked pretty good.
Okay.
Kind of didn't know too much about him because you hear a lot of Bradley Chubb, their defensive end. So it's nice to see some of the other players. Yeah. And Deron Payne from Alabama, he solidified himself probably as a top 15 pick.
Yeah, I really like him too.
Yeah. The defensive line in this draft is very deep.
Which is good for the Bills. We need defensive line help. B.J. Hill playing for NC State, I feel like he didn't get a lot of attention. But you watch that NC State, that whole defensive line was just crazy this year. I watched NC State when they played against, I think it was Louisville because I was watching Jackson. And they just completely controlled that offensive line. And I was like, Jackson doesn't look good, but then I realized it was more because NC State's defense was really that impressive. So
another defensive tackle would be Tim Settle out of Virginia Tech, another bigger guy who I thought moved well and did well in the drills. So that was the defensive tackles.
So now we move on to defensive ends, and probably my favorite defensive end. Again, I'm not gonna say he's the best in this draft, but Marcus Davenport from Texas San Antonio. That guy was a beast. And again, didn't know anything about him until the Senior Bowl. Senior Bowl, he got to the quarterback a couple times, so I looked back, and he's really good. He's really good.
Yeah, him and Chubb both had really good workouts for me. They were both impressive. Chubb, I think his measurables were compared to Myles Garrett.
Okay.
So, and he was the first overall pick. So
right.
If you're looking at that comment, so I think they both did very well for themselves at the combine.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I read this somewhere. Like Chubb, if it wasn't for such a big quarterback class, right? Chubb would probably be number 1 or number 2 behind Barkley, and now we're talking probably top 10, but top 5 you're getting questionable. But he's explosive.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And it goes to show last year. Who was their top-rated quarterback? Mitchell Trubisky, but everybody was kind of on the fence with him.
Yeah.
So that's where Cleveland made the choice to go with Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
We'll see if they get a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Good quarterback this year. So now we move, still on day 3, we'll move to linebackers, right? It was still day 3. So looking at your linebackers, I don't know if you had anyone we got to talk about this guy, right?
Yeah. The guy who basically is the story of the combine, stole the show, Shaquem Griffin from Central Florida, which was the fastest time ever for a linebacker at 4.38, which was moving. I mean, my 3-year-old son was sitting there watching. He goes, "Man, he's quick. He's fast." And I'm like, fast. If a 3-year-old can tell what are the scouts, and to see some of the guys, I think they showed Pete Carroll's reaction to his 40, it was pretty impressive. And he also benched 20 reps,
and that's
pretty good. That's actually probably average for a linebacker, because there's been linebackers I saw that did like 15 to like 20 some reps, but he uses a prosthetic that clips onto it, and I think he was hoping for like 5 or 6, and he just said, I gotta get 20. He got 20. He had a very impressive day.
Yeah, if you haven't watched him doing his bench press, I would suggest finding a video of him doing the bench press and the 40. He was really impressive.
That 40 was just
it was insane, and he really stole the show at the combine, and good for him.
Yeah,
great for him. Great story all the way around. So we'll see what happens. It's sad to think that he had to basically claw his way into the combine, asking for an invite, and then he stole a show. So we'll see what happens with him as far as his pro day. Obviously, will come up, and then the draft. It would be good to see. That's a good story.
The one thing too is everybody worries about him having one hand. Is he going to be able to catch? Well, he actually had one of the better catches of the combine for the linebackers. So that just goes to show you, it seems like that guy is just working, do whatever he has to. So I'm rooting for him.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see. Hopefully, he gets in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah,
maybe it's second or third.
Yeah, and I compared it kind of, and obviously his situation is a little worse, but Jason Pierre-Paul blew off 3 of his fingers, and everyone was like, oh, he's not going to be able to tackle from the DM position. Yeah. Well, he came back. His first year back wasn't that great, but then his second year, third year, he did pretty good. So
I mean, he's been dealing with this his whole life, so he knows what position to put himself in.
Exactly.
And the help with, I believe it was this past year that they moved him to the left side so he could use his hand to get off the blocks and stuff like that. So somebody take a chance on him. It might be day 2.
Yeah.
Maybe day 3. He'll get drafted, but I'm thinking somewhere around day 2.
Yeah, I'm hoping day 2 for him. And you know what? Especially if we don't sign Brown, we could use outside linebacker help anyway. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I'm definitely, even if he doesn't get drafted by Buffalo, I'm cheering for the kid. Even if he gets signed by New England, that's tough to say. But even if he gets signed by a team I don't like, good for him. So, but anyhow, moving on down the list, you got Rashad Evans from Bama. Probably one of the top linebackers on the board, right? Top linebacker on the board. So he didn't run the 40, but he did do the field drills.
He looked pretty good, fluent. There was Renzo Carter from Georgia, which you don't hear much about him because you hear of Raekwon Smith.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe Raekwon Smith did the field drills. I think he cramped up or pulled a muscle or something like that.
Right.
So Lorenzo Carter ran a 4.5 40. He looked good during the drills. A lot of these linebackers really did look good, fluently moving. So he's probably more of an edge rusher.
Okay.
So he could possibly be for us a defensive end.
Yeah. And like we've been saying, just the combine's more like checking those boxes, saying, I can do this. So.
Tremaine Edmunds or Edmunds or whatever, how do you pronounce it? Out of Virginia Tech. He's 19 years old. He'll be 20 around the draft or after the draft. He was impressive.
Okay.
With the field drills, his running, his bench, and all that. So it's kind of crazy to see a 19-year-old. Yeah. He's going to be drafted.
Right. But, kind of envious, right? Yeah. To both be 19 again and to be drafted in the NFL. But so that was it for day 3. Your linebackers and your defensive linemen. So we'll move to day 4. You got your cornerbacks and safeties, right? So I don't know what you want to say about that. We start with Josh Jackson, which I know you really like. Josh Jackson.
I love Josh Jackson on tape. Hated him at the combine. He ran a 4.5 6.40, which isn't too bad. He just looked stiff. Doing all the drills, his hips were kind of stiff, and there was a few times that they had to stop him doing the drills. And I believe he was like number 17 or 18, because they go by numbers alphabetically.
Right.
So he had like 15 or 16 guys ahead of him do the drills, and they're stopping them. And to me, like the cornerback day is supposed to be one of the premier days.
Sure, absolutely.
I didn't like it at all. I'll be honest with you. In general, no one stuck out with me in the corner. I thought they all looked awful. There was no intensity. They were just kind of going through the motions. Now they ran their 40s really fast. There was 3 of them that had a 4.32.
Okay.
So that was nice to see that. But during the drills, I was not impressed by any single one. Josh Jackson, he caught the ball, but other than that, I'm not happy with it. And that's saying something because I really thought he was the best corner in the draft.
Yeah, and this is one of those things, and I don't disagree. As I was watching highlights of the draft and watching day 4, it didn't seem like anyone really did anything to impress you. And it's kind of tough day 4 because day 4 is on a Monday. You would think day 4 they'd end the week, but no, it's just episodic, so that's kind of weird. But there was no one impressive, and so I was thinking to myself, man, I'm happy the Bills got Vontae Davis, so we're probably set at the cornerback position.
Maybe this is why. Maybe they knew this was coming. There was like Dante Jackson out of LSU. He ran a 4.32 40, which was really fast, and he cramped up at the end of it, so he could have had a faster time.
Right,
and I know Tre'Davious White has been clamoring for him, but I mean, he looked fast on the drills. His catching was he was okay. Jaheir Alexander out of Louisville, he probably had the best day out of all the corners. I liked him.
Okay.
But he ran a 4.38, which was pretty fast. And he looked good in the drills, but him and Tony Brown would be my 2, I guess, because I forgot about Tony Brown.
Yeah.
But he ran a 4.35, which is really fast, and he was probably the best on the drills.
Okay.
And he had some hit and miss moments at Alabama, so
right, yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But that was day 4. That was the last day. So I don't know if you had any comments before we closed out. No special teamers. Sorry, nothing stuck out there. They actually were day 1, I believe.
Yeah.
But no one stuck.
Yeah, they do. I believe it's after. I think it's after each day. Like the running backs, the wide receivers, they do like a thing where it's not televised, but they catch the punts and stuff like that.
Right.
So some of these other guys that they look at, they get to see that. We don't see it.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing to think where the combine came from like where it originated from to here, and then now it's a televised event and it's all 4 days. So that's pretty much it for the combine. So we will be back with other episodes especially with free agency coming up, right? So that's gonna be exciting. But tell us what you thought of the combine. Just let us know who impressed you. And until next time, like I said, please subscribe to our channel if you want continuing content of the Buffalo Bills, of the NFL. This is where you get it. We'll be here all the time giving you constant updates. So until next time.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.